You're alone in the kitchen looking for your keys, and you hear a voice say, out loud, "Okay, where did I put you?" No one else is home. You weren't planning to speak. The words just came out, like your brain needed to hear them. You call this talking to yourself. But the real answer is far stranger. That voice may not be a quirky habit at all. It might be one of the oldest tools your mind has for actually thinking. A psychologist named Lev Vygotsky studied something most adults barely notice because it usually fades before we're old enough to remember. Young children talk to themselves constantly while they play, narrating exactly what they're doing, out loud, to no one in particular. Vygotsky called this private speech, and he proposed something that reshaped how psychologists understood the mind. He argued this wasn't idle chatter. It was thinking, happening out loud before children had developed the ability to do it silently inside their heads. According to Vygotsky, children first learn language to communicate with others. Then, slowly, they start turning that same tool inward, using it to guide their own actions, plan their next move, talk themselves through a problem. Over time, this outward speech doesn't disappear. It goes underground, compressing into the silent inner voice most adults use to think all day long, so smoothly we rarely notice its speech at all. If that's true, then your inner monologue isn't separate from the child's out-loud narration. It's the exact same system, just quieter, faster, and folded inward. A more recent researcher named Charles Fernyhough spent years studying this inner voice directly, using brain imaging and detailed interviews to map what's actually happening when people think in words. His research found that inner speech isn't some vague background hum. Brain activity during silent inner speech closely resembles the activity involved in actually speaking out loud, engaging many of the same regions responsible for producing language. This is why, under the right conditions, that inner voice slips back out. When you're alone, when a task gets complicated enough, when your hands are busy but your mind needs an anchor, the compressed, silent version of speech sometimes decompresses again, and you hear yourself say the words instead of just thinking them. Talking to yourself while searching for your keys isn't a random quirk. It's private speech resurfacing, doing exactly the job it evolved to do, helping you organize a task by giving it an audible structure your brain can follow. But there's something more here than simple task management. A researcher named Ethan Kross studied what happens specifically when people talk to themselves using their own name, or the word you, instead of I. Something like, "Okay, you can figure this out," instead of, "Okay, I can figure this out." Kross found that this small shift changes how the brain processes stress. Speaking to yourself in the second or third person creates a kind of psychological distance, letting you coach yourself the way you'd coach a friend, rather than getting tangled in the raw, first-person intensity of the moment. In his studies, people using this distanced self-talk performed better under pressure and reported feeling calmer navigating difficult situations, compared to those using first-person self-talk alone. Put this together, and a strange, private habit starts to look like a fully functional cognitive tool. A voice that helps you plan. A voice that helps you focus. And when used a certain way, a voice that helps you regulate your own stress response in real time. Now think about when you actually catch yourself talking out loud. Cooking a complicated recipe, assembling furniture, working through a stressful decision alone in the car. These aren't random moments of eccentricity, they're exactly the conditions Vygotsky described nearly a century ago. Tasks complex enough that your compressed inner voice pushes back out into sound, giving your thinking a structure you can actually follow. So the next time you catch yourself narrating your own search for a lost set of keys, this isn't something to feel strange about. It's a tool built directly into how human thought works, one that was talking long before it learned to stay quiet. You're alone in the kitchen looking for your keys, and you hear your own voice say, "Okay, where did I put you?" Maybe that's not you talking to yourself. Maybe that's simply you, thinking out loud, the way your mind first learned to think at all.